Orange, nice to see you. Cess.eth, Dan, I think that's Dan. Parth, what's up? What's up? Everybody, welcome. So yeah, we could actually just go ahead and get started. I thought we would have more guests, so I specifically created enough questions so that we could go through like 5 different people. So it might be a little bit short, but that's okay. We're gonna get through a lot of good content today. So yeah, I guess I'll just go ahead and introduce myself. So I'm calling in from yet another Twitter account that I have that I just rebranded. But my name is Austin. I am one of the marketing and partnerships volunteers here at East Chicago, and I am going to be your wonderful host of Friday's event. So strap in. Today, we're going to be talking about East Chicago and how we are partnering with universities to create I guess, like a better ecosystem, for lack of better words. But yeah, so we are going to just introduce the partnership, talk about how it formed, talk about what blockchain development looks like on a college campus today, and also what attendees can expect at the actual event. So we do encourage everybody out there in the audience to participate, give us some thumbs up, give us some claps or whatever emojis you could give us down there. If you do have some questions, we are reserving some time at the end for a Q&A session. So if you feel comfortable coming up and speaking, you can do that. If you are not comfortable speaking, you can just go ahead and click that button in the bottom right and just ask your question in the thread below this Twitter Spaces. And if you do ask your question, make sure to use hashtag East Chicago so we can get a little, boost in the algorithm there. But yeah, so let's go ahead and just give a round introduction. So for the guests, Abdullah and Danny, if you could just go ahead and give us your introduction of who you are, what your position is at your respective organization, and why you are oh so excited to be working with us for the very first East Chicago. We can start off, I guess, Danny, you want to go first since you were here first, and then Abdullah, you could round it off.
Yeah, I can kick it off. What's up, everyone? I'm Danny. I'll be a senior at University of Illinois. I study mechanical engineering. And then as for the club, I co-founded it with a couple other buddies 2 years ago. And right now I'm current co-president. So really excited about, what the semester has in store for us, especially, coming down to Chicago for East Chicago and just being able to meet so many different people within the space and meet you guys after, talking for all summer, seeing how we can work together. So yeah, just really excited to come down and meet more of the Chicago ecosystem for sure.
Awesome. And then Abdullah, we'll pass the mic over to you. Give us a little introduction about who you are, what your position is, and yeah.
Hey guys, I'm also an incoming senior at the University of Michigan, and at Michigan Blockchain, my position is co-president, and then I also direct our governance division. We've been around for like 4 or 5 years now, and over time we've just been, adding more and more sectors and more students from different majors and different backgrounds. So it's a nice little snowballing effect that we've seen play out over the past few years. And one thing that's still lacking just in general in the area in the Midwest is a high degree of prominence from the crypto community. It's not quite like, like the East Coast, for example, and that's something we really want to help lead the way in changing. And so East Chicago is a good step forward in that direction.
Awesome. I absolutely love how everything is so fresh and new. So Danny, you said about 2 years old, and then Abdullah, you said 4 years that the blockchain club has been there. So I love how everybody that's like young and is a student on top of their work is taking initiative to kind of push this ethos forward. So I will actually pass the mic over to either James or Dale, who wants to answer the question of why is East Chicago partnering with these universities, and what do we hope to accomplish with these partnerships?
Yeah, James may have thoughts, but yeah, he initially said he was just going to be a listener. So
Oh, okay.
He could feel free to interrupt me, of course, but I won't put him on the spot to answer it immediately. So yeah, I think we are incredibly excited to have been already in conversations and building relationships with a handful of the blockchain clubs in the Midwest. and then be able to, like Danny said, kind of meet all of them in person in a month, and have them meet more people in Chicago, and also just put a spotlight on them. But to answer your question, I think specifically on why, it's because, like we've alluded to, this social graph isn't really built up yet. There aren't stages that I think, like I used the example with these guys last week, where I did Formula SAE, mechanical engineer, Formula SAE, which was a student competition where we built mini Formula One style vehicles. And part of the reason that we were so motivated to put all that work in was because we knew that there were these events, one particularly at Michigan International Speedway in Michigan, that we knew we were going to compete against all the other Midwest schools. And it drove us to really be our best, right? We knew that stage existed. So I hope that there's going to be many stages for all of these clubs to showcase all of their amazing work. But that was the first real core reason that we wanted to focus on like we really serve these groups. Like, this is one of our most core groups we're trying to serve. And so give them a proper stage to showcase how brilliant they are, and then B, pair that with working to get the highest quality technology and community partners we can from all around the world, which will be a multi-year process, of course, into Chicago to meet directly with these folks. And then all sorts of interesting positive externalities will likely happen.
Yeah, that's an awesome answer. So really just like you said, building up that social graph. I always use the term of becoming the crypto hub of the Midwest because, just love Chicago so much, but it's also just a central city. So I'm super excited to see this play out. I want to pass this back to either Danny or Abdullah, whoever wants to answer it first. But, given that you all are students, you presumably have a lot on your plate, and also being, co-presidents and founders and essentially organizing the whole thing. Why do you think it's important to have blockchain and crypto represented on campus? Like, why put all this effort in?
I can take that first. So main thing would be that it largely comes down to what incumbent structures are and how they sort of function, and how many issues they have over time. How many issues have arose over time, and how antiquated those systems have become, in particular in the realm of finance. And then you can take that out and branch it into so many other aspects, because you have to treat blockchain as a technology that can disrupt many, many different sectors, not just finance. And from that perspective, we see it as a way to bring in so many different types of people and from so many different industries, and say, okay, there's this new data structure that can enable so many different opportunities in your space that makes your life so much more efficient and effective than it previously was. And this is the way to sort of do so. And so when we advertise, for example, on campus, we're not just aiming for business students or CS students. We're trying to get a whole breadth of people to come in. And that's really one of the value props we offer. We try to get as many different types of people, as many different perspectives as we can, because this technology at its root can serve so many different specialties. And that's something that people sort of miss out on, especially on campus, where they see this instrument as merely a speculative instrument, just crypto. But crypto is blockchain, but blockchain isn't necessarily crypto, right? So that's something that we try to drive home, and that's why we believe it's a technology that will truly help change and make more prosperous multiple different industries.
Yeah. And on top of that, I think from a different perspective, we learned, our club 2 years ago merely started from 3 of us researching what Bitcoin was and reading the Bitcoin white paper. And we kind of realized how much interest there was. And with a school that has a very big CS school, a lot of people want to, just develop projects like this, and they just are following their interests. And so that's merely what our club was founded by. And that's what we try to continue to do. And we try to more stick to those roots. We're like, all right, these kids, they want to learn. They want to first learn, and then they want to build cool projects. And so, we love the technology, and, furthermore, we like pushing out projects and seeing what we can do. And so having a community of doing that and supporting that is has been really fun, and that's why we do it.
I think these are honestly fascinating responses, because what you guys are really highlighting is that it's a good problem to have, but it's almost difficult to know like how to structure the organization or how to approach the most effective, onboarding strategies for other students, because you see the multidisciplinary impact potential it has. So I would ask you guys though, like, how, if you do have specific, like, do you go target every single kind of specialty on campus? Like, how do you guys think about outreach? How do you think about, so for our conference, we have a builder track and a creative track within our hackathon. And so we've overly simplified kind of the two main groups there. Like, how do you think about some of the highest value potential students that you would want to target to bring in and be a part of the organization?
Yeah. So we have recruitment
Highest
cycles.
value at the end of the day is going to be directly like is what's most prominent in the industry currently, and that's going to be builders, the CS, and then obviously like the business and finance side. But that has to be commingled with like for example, you can find like a CS student who's maybe into like graphic design, or you can find I don't know, you can find like on our governance team we actually have like a public health student who is interested in crypto and started dabbling in. So mixing in these different disciplines is very helpful. But yes, from a target demographic standpoint, yes, we aim for the most popular ones, but then we advertise it as a way to bring in as many different people as possible, especially people who are doing, say, like a business or a CS, and then combine it with something else. That makes, I would say, for the best combination.
Yeah, and I think that there's a tricky part there because since it's university, your max retention is 4 years. You're only keeping these kids for max 4 years, which is kind of hard to deal with because there's just constant onboarding. And we're going to target, if there was a senior versus a sophomore, we'd rather try and get a sophomore and have them in the club for longer and take on leadership, stuff like that. So there's that aspect as well. And yeah, same with the duo. We the main groups like the CS department, business fraternities are pretty popular at U of I. So we love taking people from business fraternities as well. And yeah.
So I'm curious now, and I'm going to put both of you on the spot. So I hope you're getting ready for this question. But it alludes to something that you said before, Abdullah, which is you said that you are essentially advertising to this whole like spread of people, right? Between computer science students, public health. I'm sure you may have some like businesses on campus that may approach you in the future as well. If you could pick one, either past, present, or future, but talk about with us the most exciting conversation or the most exciting projects that you've seen on campus that people are working on.
Sure. One comment before I start. Austin, I could hear what you're saying. I just couldn't hear Danny, so I apologize if I cut you off. My side of the audio just went blank when Danny started speaking, so I may leave in a second and come back, but just FYI.
No, that's just like, well, I guess X now, but no, Elon's been rugging us for a while, so it's not your fault.
Okay.
Can anyone else hear me?
As for like the most interesting conversation.
Yeah, Danny, we can hear you. Otherwise, yes. Go ahead, Abdullah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I guess this is my issue. All right. So in terms of most interesting conversations, let's see. Perhaps the most interesting ones have come from. It's really been some of the conversations I had with like some grad students. So we have a graduate student, a student on our side, who he's a master's student in CS, and he's one of the guys he's very much like a tinkerer, and he likes to go ahead and like scrape data from the internet and create all these data pipelines.